week. Not that it shouldn't get resolved, not that the government shouldn't shut down to begin with, but that's just sort of how these things work. A lot of what's going on in DC is completely affected by the shutdown because the agency people are furloughed, many of them aren't working. The ones who are working don't have staff that they can rely on that they ordinarily would to get answers to questions. So as things come up during the shutdown, it takes longer for us to get substantive answers back. But we're doing everything we can, and that's all we can do. I guess I'm confident, though, that once this gets resolved, I'm not confident, I'm hopeful that once this shutdown business gets resolved and this debt ceiling and all these things that you read about in the newspapers and see on TV, that we'll have some clear sailing for a while, and things will get back to normal and back to business. So I know that's what I want to say about the shutdown. I mean, I know that it's an impact on all the services that you have that folks go to the tribe for that are federally funded, IHS. I've been getting that information from the council people communicating it. So I just want you to know that we're having input in this process. As far as some of the stuff that we're working on with Congress, this Congress is pretty non-productive. They haven't been doing a whole lot, at least on big things. But there are a number of smaller things that have seen movement and probably will once the shutdown gets averted. I just want to give you some examples. There's too many to talk about, but just a few. I mentioned Indian health issues earlier. We have a long-time issue that we've been working with about getting adequate staffing for our IHS facilities. Our facilities are nice and they were built. It's nice that we have newer facilities than many other tribes, but we don't have enough folks to actually see enough people. And we could use additional staff, and as things have progressed, we've, I think, gotten shortchanged on that issue compared to other service units. And so we've been making this a priority for a few years. The director of IHS is a woman named Yvette Rubidoux. She has to be confirmed by the Senate. A number of tribes around the country are particularly happy with her for a variety of reasons. One of the things that we're working on is getting Senator Cantwell, who is one of our representatives and is the chairwoman of the Committee on Indian Affairs, which oversees this nomination. She's weighing in on our behalf to extract certain concessions from Ms. Rubidoux, specifically on the staffing issue, basically as a condition of allowing her nomination to go forward. It was an important enough issue to the senator because she's helped us with it in the past. And when the doctor, during her hearing, couldn't answer the questions about what they were doing about staffing, it really kind of lit a fire. So that's an example of one of the things that we're working on, and we're hoping to get some resolution to that in the coming months. Energy, we've been kind of a leader nationally on energy-related issues. We have a large land base and a lot of different types of potential projects. One of the issues that we're a main leader on is forestry. We've been working for a number of years to be able to expand the management capacity of the tribe to do more work on federal lands, maybe to do some of our on-reservation management practices where cultural resources and sacred sites are better represented on some of the federal lands. And so we have, we authored some large components of this Indian Energy Bill that will likely pass the House in the next couple of months that relates to that type of activity. So we're active in that. It was mentioned earlier, the Columbia River Treaty. This is kind of a complicated issue, but it boils down to how the river system, the Columbia River system, will be managed for hydropower or flood purposes. It's a big issue for not just folks who live along the Lake Roosevelt and the river on our end, but also people upriver and downriver. And the tribes have a lot at stake in this. And we are working on that very diligently, not only at the staff level, but I'm working with congressional folks from around the country to weigh in on the tribe's behalf to make sure that what, the issues that we need to see in this treaty are incorporated going forward. Just a couple other ones. I mentioned Indian health issues as well. Taxation, the shutdown stuff has sort of blurred a lot of what's going on with reforming the federal tax code, which some folks want to do. But there's a number of industries, any industry that you can imagine that pays taxes and wants to pay less are involved in this because they want to make sure that their stuff is in there. Tribes are the same way, and we're doing that as well. So we've been active on that this year as well. So that's the congressional side. It's, right now it's not the best example of how this thing works with the shutdown being in place, but I think that in the coming weeks that things will settle out and get back to some of these issues moving forward that I just mentioned. On the administrative side, a lot of what I do is sort of interacting with federal agencies on issues for the tribe, sort of as they come up. There's a couple that are going on that I've been putting a lot of time into just recently, actually as of this morning even, that we'll be continuing to work on going forward. One is Lake Roosevelt. A lot of you probably know there's a lot of complicated jurisdictional issues on Lake Roosevelt and the whole Lake Roosevelt management area. The tribe has several of those issues right now that we're working with sort of the highest levels of the Interior Department to get resolved. It has not happened, or it has not progressed, at least on the Fed's part, as quickly as we would like, but I'm thinking that we kind of lit a fire just this past week on some things, so we're hoping to shake that loose. I'm confident that these will get resolved. So it's, there needs to be clarity as to who has jurisdiction over the tribal parts of Lake Roosevelt, and that's been lacking. So that's an example of one of the things we're working on with the department as opposed to Congress. Another thing, Dana had mentioned Tech Cominco, this long-running pollution case. There's a lot of activity sort of at the agency level on that issue. And I think really for the first time in a few years, we've gotten some good traction on reversing course on how that case has progressed, beginning with the Bush administration. And I'm hopeful that we're turning that around to get the agencies more on the tribe's side, as complex as that issue is. So with that, I'm just going to stop. I could talk all day, but all day.
Okay, if you could wait until 2:30,
Sure.
And then we'll do Q&A then, but we have to draw for some baskets. I know there's probably some anxious ticket holders out there. I missed it. I was supposed to do it before you presented it.
I can't compete with the basketball. Well, thank you all. I'll be around.
Thank you, Brian. Everyone can get their tickets out.
We'll move to that. I myself did not grab a ticket. Do we have someone who wants to come up and draw? Anyone? Feel like they have the hot hand? There you go. Okay, we have a couple ticket grabbers here. You guys both can come up. Go ahead. Pick one out and hand it to me and we'll read it out. All right, the first lucky winner is 232405. Oop. 232405. Go ahead and pick a basket. Better not. Go ahead. Okay. 232330. 232330. We'll put that aside for a second. 232397. 397. 397. 232340. 340. I did. Oh.
Late.
340? Yes. 232360. 360? 360. All right. Come on down, Dave. grab it. All right. 232-374. 374. 374. Last call for 374. 232-322. Prefix 322. All right. Two, three, two, 323, 323, 323. Is there a 323 out in the crowd? Okay. 323? Okay, I'll hold for a second. Is it 323? All right. Okay. 232-370? 370? 370? Okay, 232-366. 366. All right, Yvette. Two, three, two, 369? 369. Oh, we have one here. Two, three, two, 345. 345? 345. 345. Two, three, two, 328. 328? All right. We'll take it. And then you can pick one of those three back there. 232, 365. 365? 365. All right, we have one there. Hand your ticket to Mr. Nicholson and grab one of the last two remaining bags there. 232, 363. 363. All right. All right, that concludes that portion. We'll keep your tickets handy. We'll be drawing them in here after a while. We'll move to Joe Pacotis as the last agenda item.
Good afternoon. A couple of announcements. My name is Joe Pacotis. I'm the CEO for the Cobble Travel Federal Corporation. Federal Corporation has been in place since November of 2009. For our PowerPoint presentation today, I didn't make any copies. Last few times we made copies, we made a whole bunch of copies and nobody picked them up. So if you would like to have a copy of our presentation after we're done, just leave your name and address and we can make sure that you get a copy of that. Also, that just come out was the CTFC annual report. This is actually the first one that's come out since I've been the CEO. We've been in place for almost 4 years now. This is the first annual report. We just got it out, and I think all the members got it in the mail either the last week or the week before. But if you did get a copy, if you'd like to have a copy, I have copies out here on the table. where the other booths are. So if you'd like to get a copy of the annual report, that's available out there. We have a board of directors that are 5 members, and they're actually 4 tribal members right now. They're all tribal members. We have 1 vacancy, and that is being announced. I think someplace where I'm not in the way. That's being announced right now, that 1 vacancy. And they're looking at a couple of the other ones. There's some reappointments that are going to be needed pretty soon. But these top 2 have been in place with CTFC right from the beginning. And I believe their positions may be up now for either reappointment or being advertised. That will be up to the business council on how we want that handled. The executive management for CTFC is something that I'm pretty proud of, is 100% Native American. And I think that's the first time that CTEC or CTFC has ever been in that position. You see myself, Chief Executive Officer, Randy Williams, Director of Corporate Gaming. He's here with me today. Drew Rice, who is the Corporate Counsel. He is a Mohawk Indian. Randy is an Alaska Native. Erline Kirk, Director of Finance. She's a Navajo Indian. Debbie Aycock, who is the Director for Business Development, and she just come on board in July, and she's a Alaska Native. Sudie Marchand, Director of Small Businesses, tribal member. Debbie Condon, Director for Human Resources, tribal member. Nathan Moulton, Interim Construction General Manager, and he's presently putting together our fuels division too, right, at this point in time. He's a tribal member. And a newly appointed or hired is Brett Black, a tribal member who is going to be overseeing the sort yard, timber division side of things. A little bit of the history, as I said, the federal corporation was adopted in November 2009. And we went through a reorganization at that time and identified all of the businesses that we have and located them or put them in a category. We have gaming, construction, retail, and recreation. And just most recently, we're re-adding the forest division, and also we'll be adding a fuel division to our organization. We've, last couple of years, done a little bit of strategic planning. And what you see here is what we're looking at into the future. This is part of our strategic planning process that we went through a few years ago, and identifying where we're going to be looking into the future. And as far as our gaming division, we're looking at the Omak Casino Resort. Right now, we have design work going on with that. And they have a location identified in the Omak area. We're working on financing for that, and we're hoping, keep our fingers crossed, that we'll start construction March, April of 2014. That'll be a 52,000 square foot casino with an 80-room hotel. And phase 2 part of that would be an entertainment center, about a 20,000 square foot entertainment center, I believe. We're also looking at the Mill Bay area. Once the lease and everything gets completed there and all the details get worked out on that, we'll be looking at future design work for the Mill Bay Casino area. What we're going to look at there, I don't know exactly what it's going to be. We'll work through some strategic planning with the council and a lot of the staff and a lot of the tribal membership just to decide what's all going to go down there. If it's going to be gaming, hotels. We're also right now looking at a convenience store down in that area too that we're designing for right now. Nothing in particular, nothing in concrete at this point in time. We're just kind of doing some preliminary design just to see how things are looking in that area. Construction, we've closed down the service portion of that about a year ago, actually. The civil and the building construction side of things because of the multiple years of losses. Right now we have the electrical company still in place. and we're working on finalizing a couple of projects for that. And, we're looking at closing that down next spring sometime. So the construction side of things will be completely closed down. I don't know if that's going to be something we'll be looking at into the future. If we do, it's going to be completely reorganized, revamped, and completely restructured if we do get into the construction field. It hasn't been very good to the Cabo Tribe or CTEC or CTFC in the last 8 to 10 years. The retail division, a couple new projects that we're looking at. As I said, Mill Bay convenience store is one of those. And Moses Lake area, we're looking at a convenience store in the Moses Lake area. The tribe has some property down there. We're working on getting that transferred into trust status so we can start designing and developing down in the Moses Lake area. Forest products, as I said, we just, in August, we commenced on a lease at CIPB. So CIPB is leased out to an outside corporation, outside company, Atlas Corporation, and they're calling themselves Omak Wood Products right now. And they just started peeling this last week. We've been delivering logs there to them. And details for the lease and everything, if people need to see that or something, we can sure get you that information too in the future. So right now we have the sort yard. CTFC received the sort yard in June. June 1st, I believe, is when we started the sort yard and received that back from the tribe. In the past, it was CTAG, and it was transferred over to the tribe, and now it's back to the federal corporation right now. So we're getting those parts of the forest division in line right now. I'm trying to get that organized. And Brett Black is the new manager for that, director for the sort yard area. And trying to improve upon the tribe's revenues through stumpage. I think in the last year was the highest amount of timber that was logged. I think it was about 17 million board feet in last year. The years before that was 6 and 8 and 10 million board feet that was logged. The annual allowable cut on the reservations for the tribe is about 77, 78 million board feet. So we're quite a ways away from that. And right now with the agreement at Atlas, we are charged for delivering 40 million board feet to Atlas per year. So you can see that's going to be a pretty good size jump in the stumpage for the tribe in the future. And then we'll be marketing, part of the sort yard's task is marketing the remainder of the tribe's timber. And we've been doing that outside. We've got a few small markets outside that we're selling raw logs to. Oyster Cascade, Boggle Brothers. There's a mill in Cle Allen that we're selling to, and they're exporting the logs from there. So those are our markets that we have right now, and with Brett on board, we're going to be looking at some additional markets to that. Next week, we're going to be start talking about CIPP and figure out what can happen with CIPP. Right now, it's under the tribe's ownership, and CIPP has closed down. The tribe has that, so we're going to be sitting down, tribe, us, and taking a look at the future of CIPP and see if there's any possibilities, any new markets that we can get into to start harvesting the remainder of the tribe's timber that's allocated annually. A new division that we're looking at too is the fuel side of things. We are into convenience stores right now, and that's great for the corporation side as far as the business, but it's even greater for the tribe because the tribe can generate revenues from the taxes that they derive from the convenience stores through gasoline, cigarettes, and into the future maybe liquor once that takes place. So the fuels is one thing that we're looking at. Right now we're selling pretty close to 4 million gallons a year at the stations that we do have. Tribal Trails Nomad, Tribal Trails at Barney's Junction, Trading Post, Rainbow Beach Resort, and also Keller store here. So with doing that, part of the fuels division is going to be, we're going to be distributing fuel to ourselves. So we're working on those licenses with the state of Washington right now, getting those licenses in place. We have a couple fuel trucks we've had for quite a while now. We're hoping to get those in line and start delivering fuel to ourselves, which will be a pretty good savings. Right now we're paying anywhere from 9 to 10 cents per gallon to have that delivered to our stations. That's outside distributors. When we can be doing that ourselves, saving some money, looking up front and collecting those taxes directly to the tribe at that point in time. Because right now they're paid directly to the state. Those taxes are when the fuel is picked up at the rack by these non-Indian, these outside distribution side businesses. So we're working and strategizing in certain areas as far as that part of it to start cutting some costs, saving a lot of money, and also delivering those dollars hopefully a little bit quicker to the tribe as far as the taxing side of things. Another part of the fuel side is we're looking at the OMAC area for bulk fuel. Right now, the racks that we go to is in Spokane, Tri-Cities, Moses Lake, and Seattle. That's where we get our fuel from, is those 4 or 5 areas is where the fuel comes from. And we're looking at on a daily basis. The fuel on an hourly basis goes up and down. So we're keeping an eye on that on an hourly basis. And on a daily basis, over at OMAC Tribal Trails, we're having a truckload delivered on a daily basis right now. And that's anywhere from 10,000 to 12,000 gallons a day. So we're watching the market, and we're trying to order our gasoline at certain times of the day and certain days of the week, so we can get the best price delivered to each one of our sites. Once we become our own distributor, then that'll be the distributor's job to do that, to watch over that, and then we can buy fuel at any time. If we become a bulk plant, where we'll be having the fuel either railroaded or trucked to OMAC, and that bulk plant would replace Spokane, Seattle, Moses Lake, Tri-Cities for us. So we'd be getting our own fuel from the OMAC area, so that'd be another pretty good size savings there. And we don't know yet, but depending on where we get that fuel from, it might be completely tax-free for the tribe and for the tribal businesses that we're operating right now. So it's just something that we're dealing with as far as the legal side of things. Our next slides will be the financial side for the federal corporation. And what you're going to see here is 2012's financials. This is audited numbers. We do have our 2012 audit. That's out there. We're presently being audited for our 2013 numbers right now. Our auditor's over in our office is going through our financials right now, and that should be done, I think, by about the first of the year. The annual revenues for 2012 was $86.4 million. The gaming distributions to the tribe for 2012 was $10.8 million. That's the 80% of our gaming revenues, net gaming revenues, after taxes and after debt service and everything. So for 2012, the net income was about $4.9 million, which is a pretty good sized jump looking at where we come from in 2009. And January 1, 2010, 2 months after CTFC started, CTFC was in the red by $8.1 million. So we've climbed out of that hole, and now we're climbing out even that much further each year. You see, this last year was 4.9. I think the year before was about 2.6, somewhere around there. And 2013, I can't remember the exact numbers, but it's going to be better than what we're looking at right here now as far as the 2012. Right? This is our 2013 numbers here, and this here is only for the first 9 months, up until June. One of the reasons for that is we haven't got our numbers completed for July and August because of the sort yard, and part of it is because of Noisy Waters, Tribal Trails, the 2 new businesses. We're still trying to get our arms around the financials on those, and keeping track of the stumpage paid, keeping track of all the loggers that are out there, and we're reestablishing a whole new business because now we're trying to find loggers. Some of our past tribal loggers that have completely gone out of business. because there was no logging for the last 4 years. So we're trying to reestablish that and get our accounting and everything back together there. But the distribution to the tribe is up until August, and I think in September is about another $1 million. So it's going to be, for the year, it's going to be about $13.1 million distributed to the tribe for gaming. So the first 11 months was about $12.1 million that was distributed to the tribe. So for the first 9 months, you see our net income is about $4 million. For that, and once we get the numbers together for the sort yard and looking at the stumpage and stuff, that number will go quite a bit up, quite a bit higher. Another thing that we're dealing with too is the long-term debt that we do have, which is $28.1 million as of August 2013. And a lot of that debt was previous to CTFC coming on board, and that's where a lot of that $8.1 million in the red was coming from, was because of the debt that CTEC had, that the federal corporation had picked up at that point in time. So it's about $28.1 million, and that's going down about 1.3 or something a month or thereabouts. I can't remember the exact payments. But most of that is being paid out of gaming revenues. So all of our refinance was done under gaming revenues. So that's what we're looking at right now as far as our financials for the debt. This is a pie chart for looking at the first 9 months and identify the operating revenues and where those revenues are coming from. You remember the $62.7 million in total revenues for the 9 months. As you see, the orange is the gaming, which is about 65% of our total revenues right now. And then as you go around, the other small businesses is the dark brown, which is 16%. And then the real small sliver there is Tribal Trails, that's Noisy Waters. We just opened that up in June. That's about 1% right now. The blue is Tribal Trails OMAC. That's at 16% of the total revenues of Tribal Trails in OMAC. Right around 16, now it's $10 million for the first 9 months. And then you got the Wood Products Division, which is sort yard, and then construction after that. This is the bar graph showing those numbers. Our total revenues, our income versus the expenses versus the net income, which is a small bar on the bottom. This is comparing 2012 to 2013 for the first 9 months of each one of those 2 years. We're a little over $2 million in total revenues higher this year than we were last year. And that's because of a couple of businesses that, the Tribal Trails is one of them. And actually getting rid of a couple of the businesses too, closing them down, helped that revenues number too, because we were paying a lot of money out, but I wasn't generating any income at all for a couple of businesses. You see those numbers went up over last year. The net income is about $300,000 less in the first 9 months than it was the prior year. So that's a look at 2013 and 2012 and 2013. We just completed our budget for 2014, and in 2014 we added a couple of those new businesses that we had in our strategic planning. One of them is, you can see on the top left, the small businesses, which is still the same, which is Trading Post, Keller, Rainbow Beach, Beach Rim, and the 2 Tribal Trails convenience stores at this point in time. And then the blue is the Wood Products Division. We're proposing or looking at, that's going to be about 11% of our total revenues in 2014 because of the amount of stumpage, the amount of timber that we're going to be going through this next year. And then the bottom gray is our fuels division. Remember I talked about the distribution, being our own distributor, operating our own trucks, and also having our own bulk plant. The bulk plant isn't going to be completely in place in 2014, but we're going to be having our own fuel distribution in 2014. We're keeping our fingers crossed on the wood products and also the fuel side of things, because we don't know exactly what's going to shake out on those yet. We're having some problems. We need, about $3 million to upfront capitalize these two businesses to really get them kick-started and get them going. That's something that we're doing right now is working on that part of those two businesses, get the financing and get those kick-started properly. So the fuel side of things is going to be about 19% of the total budget. Then you look at gaming, it's going to be about 40%. So the total budget, gaming is shrinking. We're diversifying and going into a lot of other businesses, which basically the council give us that directive to do, is to start looking at different businesses. Because if we have something drastic happen, then we're going to be in the same spot we were 4 years ago. Because we had gaming and we had wood products. Wood products went away, and that just devastated the CTEC Cultural Enterprise Corporation. And really set the tribe and the corporation back for a number of years. So that's something that we're looking at is diversifying, and we're going to continue doing that, and looking into the future and different types of business that we can get into. That total operating revenues, I think, is right around $149 or $150 million. Remember last year, in 2012, was 84 million. And then we're growing up, so we're proposing, I hate giving out numbers because I know this time next year people are going to hold us to those numbers. So we're proposing, we're looking at about $150 million total revenue for the federal corporation in 2014. And that's over 75% increase of what we're doing this year. So we're growing real fast. And then I think you'll see the next slide is what our net income is going to be proposed for next year. Now it's almost going to be double what it is this year. It's going to be about $8.5 million we're proposing for our net income for next year. And then near future, in a few years, we're going to be pretty heavy in debt next year, next couple of years, but as that debt goes down, that small $8.5 million that you've seen, your next slide. You're ahead of me already. Yeah, this is the next slide I was talking about. The $8.5 million is going to be quite a bit greater once we start paying our debt down, because we're looking at $50, $60 million in debt in the next couple of years. Looking at all of this business and this enterprise that's going on. So it's really scary, but at the same time, it's really, really exciting that we can come up with these types of numbers. And we've come up with real good numbers the last couple of years. So I think it kind of gives a little track record on where the corporation's going, and with the direction of the tribal council and the board of directors and how we're doing things and the types of businesses that we're getting into are going to be great for the tribe, along with great for the corporation. Because some of the businesses we're getting into will generate tax dollars to the tribe, which is going to increase the revenues to the tribe. And I don't have those numbers, but I know just from the federal corporation, there are probably $2 or $3 million in tax revenues from gasoline and cigarettes combined over the last year or so. So the tribe's agreement they have with the state of Washington for gasoline is the tribe gets 20 or 75% of all taxes that are collected. And the total gasoline tax right now is 37.5 cents per gallon. So the tribe gets back 28 cents per gallon of that for all gallons that are sold, that we sell through the corporation and that any tribal member sells. So that's how much the tribe receives back for the gasoline that we're looking at as far as in the future too. So we're looking at probably 10 to 12 million gallons in the next year that we'll be selling at our convenience stores or stations. And multiply that by 28 cents, that's quite a bit of money. Next slide. This is our loan balances as of August this year. The see in the past, our total loan draws that we've had in the past couple of years is a little over $40 million, about 42, 41, $42 million. And the 20, and the one on the right-hand side is our current loan balance that we have, which is $28.1 million. And as I said, that's all on gaming at this point in time. This is our gaming distributions to the tribe for the last 3 years, 2010, 2011, 2012. As you can see, it's been climbing every year annually. Our gaming has been growing pretty good, anywhere from 12 to 13 to almost 20% annually is what our gaming has been growing. So, you see in 2012 it was 10.8 million. And I said 2013, total is going to be about 13.1 million. What you see here is up to August. And this one here, the one on the left is distribution for this year, 2013, and one on the right in gray is 2012. So this here is up to August, and it's about $12.1 million is the distribution to the tribe. So as I said, I think in September is about $1.2 million that was distributed to the tribes. That would be 13.1, 13.2 for the year. As you can see, it's been growing every year. It says 2010 to 2012, the total operating revenues for our gaming enterprises. And I think in 2012, looks like there's right around $52 million as total revenues generated through the 3 casinos that we have, OMAC or OBC, Fully Dam, and No Bay Casino. This is the operating revenues for gaming for the last 2 years, 2013 and 2012. As you see, the operating revenues for 2012 to 13 looks like about 51 million. Is that correct, Randy? About 51 million?
Yeah, maybe closer to 52.
Okay. Closer to 52, he says. So. This here's our fuel sales for the first 9 months. As I was talking about, for our business that we do have, total fuel sales was right around 3.4 million gallons for the total sales that we had for the first 9 months. And that's in the convenience stores, the trading posts, Keller, and Rainbow Beach Resort. This is the gallons that were sold. So as you see that the tribe receives 28 cents per gallon for each gallon that is sold. Yet, and then the tribe passes on 27 cents per gallon to tribal members for purchasing fuel on a reservation. So the tribe basically is receiving about one penny on the tax side of things for tribal member sales. For the non-Indian sales, they're receiving 28 cents per gallon on the non-Indian sales side of things. So the tribe is retaining, or the state keeps about 9 cents, almost 10 cents per gallon for the fuel sales. This is our sales that you can see for tribal members and non-members. The gray, at this point in time, is tribal members, or non-members, excuse me. Gray is 55%, and tribal members 45% of the total sales that we have right now. With tribal trails, Noisy Waters coming online at Barney's Junction, we don't know the exact numbers there, but I think they're pretty close to 80% non-Indian sales there. So once we get a full year's sales from Tribal Trails, Noisy Waters, the non-Indian portion is probably going to go up to about 65 to 70%. The tribal member portion will be anywhere from 30 to 35%. We're looking at this time next year. If we open up outside of the reservation, the further we get outside the reservation, that non-Indian number is going to go up dramatically. If we go in the park or in Moses Lake, so we'd be looking at probably 8 to 10 million gallons per year sales there. That would probably be 95 to 99% non-Indian sales in an area like that. If we get outside, say Mill Bay or someplace like that, we'd be looking at probably about 95 to 99% non-Indian sales there also. So in doing that, outside of the reservation especially, it increases the amount of dollars that the tribe is going to be receiving because they're giving less of a discount. Your tribal members aren't purchasing as much fuel outside, so the tribe is going to receive 28 cents per gallon total in those areas outside the reservation. So that's something that we're looking at too. That's part of our strategy in looking outside, go a little bit further we can, and try to get into the big population areas, the big traffic areas. Most likely is a big area right along the freeway there. It's in between Spokane and Seattle, right in the middle, and there's millions of people that drive that road on a weekly basis. This is our year-to-date sales for volumes up to June. So for the first 9 months, you can see the orange is tribal trails in OMAC. That's total, that's been 71% of our total sales for fuel for the first 9 months of this year, October to June of 2013. Trading Post is 22%, Keller Stores 3%, Rainbow Beach is 1%, and Tribal Trails Noisy Water opened up in June, so we only got 1 month there. That totaled about 3% of the total sales for the 1 month there at Tribal Trails in Barney Junction. And that's pretty much comparable to Tribal Trails at OMAC right now with the sales that we've had. The first few weeks of opening up, we're at about $35,000 to $36,000 of revenue a day, gross sales a day. Right now it's going down. They're down around 12,000, 13,000 right now because of the season is slowing down a little bit. But with this next couple of weeks, they're expecting a bump with the hunting season coming back online, and there's going to be a lot more sales in that area because that's a huge traffic site for Kettle Falls, Colville, Canadian border area too, so it's going to pick up along there. And that's it. As I said, if anybody wants to see this or any more information, make sure and get your address to me. We can send you all the information you want. We send out our audits from the past to certain individuals that requested them, and as everybody's got the annual report in the mail. We got some more out there if you need to pick some up today. So that's kind of a quick snapshot of the federal corporation, of what we've been doing and where we come from, and hopefully in the future what we're going to be looking at. It's really, really exciting looking at some of the areas that we're getting into as far as diversification, which is something that we have to do. Thank you.
Do you want to do a few more baskets before we go to the Q&A? Or do you guys want to wait? Yeah, okay, bring forward. Yeah, real quick while we're waiting for the tickets to come up, I want to take a quick opportunity to recognize the federal corporation with all the advances that we've seen over the last year and even the years prior to that. As you can see, our portfolio has diversified exponentially and it hasn't gone unnoticed. We recently got word a few weeks ago that the CPFC Corporation was awarded the 2013 William D. Bradford Minority Business of the Year Award from the University of Washington School of Business. So we'll get tickets to Sandy and we'll give out a few of these larger baskets and we'll get on with the Q&A.